Today's wiring day, we're going to repair all the old wiring on this 1980 Yamaha GT80. Anytime you get an old bike, you're always going to have wiring issues. But the good news is, old bike wiring is relatively easy to fix. Especially when you're being instructed by the one and only infamous Kentucky Yankee, without a doubt. That is I. I have a nice new battery, and it's got these two connectors on here, negative and positive. But that's the negative end of my motorbike. And that's the positive end right there, so we need to fix that first. Any place you have to attach a ground to the frame, you need to clean it to bare metal. First step, the battery's all hooked up. I do recommend putting a fuse right here in the main power line. So if something is shorted out, it'll blow the fuse instead of burn your motorbike down. So curious now to see if anything works on this motorbike. Key on, and the first thing I've been wanting to try is the horn. So let's try it. Oh. That's cool, so it works. So now let's see where we're at with a headlight. No headlight. Let's investigate and see what we find. Wiring actually looks really good in this little motorbike. I think what we should do is take this off and check the bulb. Seems like a crappy connection right there. After a thorough inspection, I found that the filaments are burned out on this light bulb, so it's no good. Also, I believe this motorbike would have to be running for the headlights to work anyways. Let's test my theory. This connector is all labeled. This says ground, it says pass, and it says drive. So one's high beam, one's low beam, one's ground. I have the test light grounded on the ground side, and I'll touch one or the other, and we'll see if she lights up with the motorbike off. Then we'll fire it up and see what happens. First, allow me to dim the lights. Key on. High, low, no light. Now let's see if we fire it up what happens. That's high. Now let's check low. Lights work, if we had a good bulb. Let's have a little fun. Suppose you don't have a test light, but you have a horn. All you need is a load, something to tell you that this thing's getting current. Key on. It's on low, now high. So there you have it. All you need is a load to test your wiring. The wiring's good, so I'm going to order a headlight bulb. I'm going to hook these wires back up and just see what happens with a back tail light. I'm going to hit the brakes and see what happens. Nothing. Now I'll fire it up and turn the lights on and see if it works. Nothing. No lights. Now we'll do a little exploring. Well, the first thing I see right off is this is a 12-volt bulb. It's supposed to be a 6. Surprisingly, I have a 6-volt bulb, so we'll stuff her in there. Key on. And I'll hit the... Now wait a minute. I don't believe that should be on. That light should only be on maybe when it's running. It should not be on right now. I noticed there's no brake lever switch right there. So then I noticed these wires are connected and they're not supposed to be. That's basically like having the brake pedal pushed and the switch on, and that would turn the light on. So now let me put you guys on the bulb and I'll unhook that and see if the light goes out. And the light's out. Believe it or not, that's actually a good deal. What that tells me is the wiring going to the brake switch is all good. All we need is a switch down there. I do have a new universal brake light switch, so I'm going to throw it on real quick. Our switch is installed. Seems to be working good. We'll give her a little test. Key on. And we got brake lights. Now let's fire it up and see if we get a tail light. No tail light. I'm not sure if it's supposed to have one or not. I would think yes. Key on. Let me try this brake switch up here. And it's working. But we do not have a tail light. But we do have a brake light, so that's good. I can't tell if the filament is bad on this bulb like I could the headlight, so I'm going to test it with this ohm meter. You set it on infinite ohms right here and it'll beep when it makes a full loop. Listen. See, if you touch them together, she's beeping. That means you're making a full circle. There's no broken filament. Simply put her on the outside here and then pick one of these. That one's not beeping. Now we'll try this one. So there's a good filament there. This side is probably the brake light. And this one, no beep. That's most likely the tail light. And that's probably our issue. Back to our brake light switch. One wire's green, one's yellow, one's brown. At the tail light we have a yellow and a blue. So it's going to be the blue that's the tail light because the yellow goes to the brake light switch. We'll unplug it, put a test light in it, fire it up, see if it lights up. Oh, it's already kicked on. So we have another bad bulb. How do you know it's not a bad socket or a wire broke from here to the socket? Again, take your ohm meter, stuff it here. If you hear a beep, it's making a loop, it's making a connection, so we got a bad bulb. Without doing any research, it would appear as though the taillight's going to be on whenever the key is on. This is not a surprise. I'm sure it was set up that way from the factory. Reason the headlights aren't always on is because they draw so much juice from the battery, it'd kill the battery pretty quick. I'm sure the taillight's always on for a kind of a safety deal. This would appear to be our turn signal relay wiring. Here's a new one. The turn signal flasher has a beeper inside of it, so I went in there and cut the speaker out. I don't want to listen to that beeping. I'm going to install all these Taiwan turn signals, bolt them up, plug them in. Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll work. I'm feeling good about this. Key on, left turn. And they're both flashing. Now for the right side, we're good to go. Sometimes you get lucky, things just work out for you. And sometimes you're extremely lucky. Check this out. That one's working too. The headlight bulb has arrived. This is a Napa number, 4020, and it was pretty cheap for a sealed beam 6-volt bulb, like 35 bucks, 25 bucks, something like that. Well, that's amazing. It's a perfect fit. We had a good run and we were really getting it done. But it looks like the voltage regulator has failed on this little bike. I can't carry on any further because I can't afford to keep blowing bulbs. I'll order a new headlight and a regulator and we'll go from there. I did, however, get a brake and tail light bulb, so I will demonstrate that. The bike does not have to be running for that tail light to work, so it won't blow the bulb. Stay tuned, I'm going to get some tags on this bike and we'll do a little moto vlogging through town. Thank you for allowing me to invade your space. I am the one and only infamous Kentucky Yankee without a doubt. Signing off. Key on. Brake. Brake.